Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Achua and I hope this video finds you well. If you are new to this place, please consider subscribing. Please do consider subscribing. I would really appreciate that. And all my supporting already existing subscribers, I really appreciate every support. Welcome back to the channel. In this video, I'm going to discuss all about Cleopatra by Hamidi. Hamidi is a brand I'm not super familiar with. I've come across their fragrances, quite a few occasions, but I've not really tested them out until I got to know about Cleopatra, which is an apparent dupe for Creed Carmina. And I love the Creed Carmina DNA. I feel it's very elegant, very feminine. It is nothing extraordinary in my opinion. It's not something that has not been done. It feels like the regular sour cherry or black cherry, but it doesn't give me Tom Ford Lost Cherry. That is a good part, because in as much as I love that, I sort of I'm a little over the whole Tom Ford Lost Cherry scent. I think I came across the smoky cherry, and I prefer that one like completely over the original Lost Cherry. I prefer that smoky nuance, which gives it a little edge. But that is not what we are talking about today. We're talking about Cleopatra by Hamidi. This one is close enough, although not like 100%. I think I'm good with this one. It is as good as it can get. It could have improved just a little bit, but for whatever this one is, it is worth it. Let me just go ahead and do the presentation. It comes in a cylindrical, package like this, which is quite beautiful. Not super unique, to Middle Eastern packaging, but I love how steady and thick the package is. It doesn't come across as cheap, light weighted. It feels like quite well done. It is leather, I know it is full leather, and the fragrance itself sits beautifully in it. I'm not a fan of the bottle at all, honestly. The bottle feels a little tacky in a way with the design. It feels like a little too much. It follows in that Yara line, but I guess like it's a little tacky. Nonetheless, the juice is very beautiful. But how comparable is this one to Creed Carmina? I'll read a note structure and I've realized that the note structure for Creed Carmina and Cleopatra are basically the same, which includes black cherry, saffron and pink pepper at the top. We have male rose, peony violet, cashmere wood in the middle, and then musk ambroxan, myrrh and frankincense at the base. They basically share the same things. I get that dark cherry in the original Creed Carmina, but I also get equal parts of raspberry, although it is not, listed as part of the note structure. Whereas in this one, I don't get that cherry or raspberry nuance. I don't get that raspberry nuance at all. All I get is that dark or black cherry. The cherry in this one doesn't come across as the Lost Cherry. This one feels much more of a powdered or powdery dark cherry. It doesn't come across as syrupy. It feels much more powdered. And when you spray this thing on your skin, just look at the oil content it has. It is very beautiful. It comes across as like very heavy in the oil content. I don't know the percentage, but as soon as you spray on yourself, it shows. It's very visible. You can just smear your hand on it to create some sheen on your skin, which is beautiful. What this one gives me is a predominant floral, whereas in the Creed Carmina, I get a predominant fruity nuance. Creed Carmina comes across as forward in the fruit, whereas this one comes across as forward with the florals. Although they have the same note structure, Creed Carmina see much more of that raspberry, cherry, violet. It gives me much more of a violet scent and peonies, violet and peonies, much more than a rose scent, coupled with the cherry and the raspberry. Whereas this one gives me the same peony, the same violet plus just the cherry. It doesn't give me raspberry. That is the most significant difference I find between these two. It feels like the florals in this one is much more pronounced as to what I get from the original Creed Carmina. Nonetheless, when they begin to dry down, they get to a stage where they smell very similar, but there is never any stage where they smell like 100%. They smell about 90 at most to me, because this one leads with the florals and the Creed Carmina leads with the fruits, But at some point, you get the resemblance of Creed Carmina in this one, but it will not give you like 100% of it. However, I still like this one because I'm not getting into that powdery, sweet, candid violet, which I find more prominent in this one, with the peonies and a very soft male rose, whereas in the Creed Carmina, very beautiful, but it leads with the fruit and dries down to the floral. Whilst this one leads with the floral, for the most part, and also dries down to the floral. Though you get that sour cherry nuance in it, it is not like super pronounced. When it comes to Creed Carmina, I realized it is also pronounced, but as soon as they begin to settle down and get to the deepest dry down, that sour cherry nuance subsides significantly, and you are left with that peony, violets, roses, much more, much more. But the beginning is where the most significant difference to me comes, where this one is much more floral, although it has cherry, and that one is much more fruity with raspberry, although it doesn't have raspberry. They are both very feminine leaning fragrances. I will not consider them as unisex in any way. They feel just pretty, like very pretty, very polished. They are not going to give you anything unique because their DNA is already sort of, out there. On one breath, both fragrances feel a little generic. On the other breath, it feels like a little more intricate than the quintessential generic fragrances. There is something about it which feels special as well as very approachable and like everyday to me. It doesn't come across, or both fragrances do not come across as fragrances I'll use for special occasions. They feel like easy grabs for every day, but it's like an elevated everyday fragrance, that is the best way I can put it. An elevated everyday feminine, not girly, but very feminine, a bit matured, it doesn't come across as juvenile to me in any way. The cherry is well done. The roses are also not, overly matured or juvenile. They are soft and subtle. That violet is the most beautiful part, coupled with the peony. They both have a very beautiful marks, although it contains the notes of ambroxan. I don't find anything too much in it. It doesn't give me anything like synthetic, it doesn't give me anything synthetic at all. It gives me a very natural violet, candid violet, powdery with the peony and that sour cherry, which is not like overly bitter and also not syrupy to the extent of the Tom Ford Lost Cherry. In my opinion, Cleopatra by Hamidi seemed like a very good signature scent. It is going to give you something very mass appealing. A lot of men are going to gravitate towards this one. Even as women, it feels like very polished to me. I think you can get compliments from women even, but it also has a little bit of an intricacy about it. It doesn't come across as too generic or too simple, but the DNA feels like something, that we are already used to. It blends in with the crowd, it will not necessarily stand you out from the crowd or make you stand out from the crowd. The scent is quite noticeable. It doesn't get lost in translation like a lot of generic ones. This one is definitely going to get you some compliments. When it comes to the lasting power, this one lasts forever. It is not going to give you beast mode. Honestly, just like the original Carmina, it's not going to give you beast mode. But this one lingers on your clothes like for days. When I spray this one, like 2-3 days later, I can smell it. But it's not going to give you a very beastly projecting room filling one. It lingers, but it lasts so long, like 24 hours plus. You're still going to get a feel of this fragrance, sadly on your clothes. On skin, it lasts about 5-6 hours, which to me is a good thing. So I'll give it a thumbs up when it comes to performance, longevity, getting a presence, or people smelling you. I'll give it to it. I also feel like this one seemed a little powdery and a little musky as compared to the original one. The original one I would always say is just like a tad bit fruity as compared to this, which is like a tad bit floral. That is the main difference between them. It's like they both have the same note structure, but consider this one with like less of the fruit, excluding the raspberry that I perceive in the Creed Carmina, and then more of that violet, the powdery violet, the peony, the rose, whereas in the original one, it's going to give you that fruity beginning and then end with the florals, but in between, that is where they smell the most alike, about 85 to 90% similar, but it's not like 100% to me. It is not a perfect one-to-one dupe. However, it is going to give you that, it definitely took inspiration from the original Creed Carmina. It is going to give you that same scent profile, but with more florals. That is all I have for you today, and I hope this video found you well. Please do not forget to give this video a thumbs up, and if you are new here or you're even like a returning viewer who has not subscribed, I'm pleading with you to give that to me today. Just subscribe to this channel today. Thank you so much, and I hope this video found you well. Please do not forget to subscribe. Thank you, and I'll see you in my next one. Take care. Bye-bye.